Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter, and here are the top quality of life changes that you're going to have to get used to giving up when you go back to play Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate for the Switch. Now obviously Monster Hunter World being a 5th generation game and meant to be kind of a revisioning and refinement of the formula, a lot has changed from the previous games, and mostly for the better. There are far too many small changes to list, but here are the big ones that I think you should be prepared for mentally if you plan to pick up the game. Again, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is a great game, it's just kinda different from Monster Hunter World. Just so you know, these are in no particular order. The two I really want to call out because I think they might be the biggest deterrents, especially for people who are curious about the old games, is first, there is like no story. If you really like the story or just having a story, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate on the 3DS was great, Monster Hunter World is fantastic, Generations is more like just sort of like a hunting tool. They throw you in a village, there's just NPCs to talk to, there's a light little setting backstory, but there's really no story as you go through the game, so don't go into this hoping for a story. Secondly, the game takes quite some time to sort of rev up, and this has been a problem that every Monster Hunter game, especially before Monster Hunter World, has had. So in the beginning, don't be surprised if you're doing some mundane quests like to gather something, to hunt a small monster, but stick with it. After the first few hours of those mundane stuff and learning the basics, you'll be able to go up against all the large monsters and start having a really good time. Maps. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate contains both recent maps with tons of elevation to take advantage of, but also some older maps as well, which are mostly just large and flat. The focus in this game is more about the one-on-one battle versus a monster than it is using the environment to your advantage. Each section of the map is separated in its own area with a small little load in between them, and you could actually use them to get away from the monster if you need to. Also, a map only has one campsite. Armor. Blade Master and Gunner armor are separate, so you might want to decide which one to start out in main as you go through the bulk of the game. The skill system is also totally different. In older games, each armor piece has points in certain skills, and by getting 10 or more points in total for your entire outfit, you'll activate a skill. Some skills have additional tiers, and some even have negative skills if you collect too many negative points in that setup. On the plus side though, decorations are all able to be purchased, and the RNG in this game is about the charm, not the decorations. A charm can have points for up to 2 different skills and the ability to have up to 3 slots. Keep in mind you won't be able to change your gear or your weapon once a quest starts, or even access your item box, so going in prepared is very much a part of this game. Items. Unless you're playing as a prowler, hunters need to carry items in order to mine, fish, collect bugs, and even sharpen your weapon. Collecting items on the map takes time to conduct, and there is no auto-combining. Most importantly though, get ready to carry paintballs, an item that you throw at a monster to mark it so that you can find it on the map. Without paintballing, you can waste an upward of several minutes searching for a monster if it gets away. Finally, drinking a potion, you will stop there and do a long animation and flex afterwards, so figuring out how to time out a potion is very much part of the gameplay in these older types of Monster Hunter games. The way quests are structured. In Monster Hunter Generations and Generations Ultimate, you'll unlock new quests as you talk to NPCs in each village and complete their quests. Most quests unlock new stuff like armor to make, weapons, hunter arts, and more, so there's a lot of meaning into doing all the quests, but there are hundreds and hundreds of them. The game splits quests into single player and multiplayer. Multiplayer quests, which includes the entire G rank, which is the super hard tier above high rank, does not scale depending on if you have 1 or 4 players. There's no SOS, so when you leave with the players, those are the people you left with and that's it. If one of them drops out, you'll have to tough it out. The key story quests that you need to advance the story are in the same list as the optional quests, so you need to kind of refer to online guides if you want to know which are the bare minimum key quests to do in order to advance the story. And perhaps one of the more annoying things of past games is that in order to go past one hunter rank to the next one, there's an urgent quest that you'll have to clear, but it only gets cleared for the person that posted the quest. So if you're in a room of 4 people, get ready to do a rotation of that same quest 4 times so that each member of your team can level up to the next hunter rank. Weapons. I actually really love this, but Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate uses real attack values and not bloat values. So if you see a sword and shield that is 200 attack, that does not mean that it's more powerful than a greatsword with 200 attack. It tells you that the average damage output over the course of a hunt is pretty much the same. In Monster Hunter World, a 200 greatsword attack weapon would be shown as 960, and a 200 true attack weapon for sword and shield would be shown as 280. This for me makes it much easier to jump between weapons to make sure that you're not picking something that is in generally weaker than what you are used to using. Event quests. This you guys are going to love, but once an event quest is released and out, it's there forever. So you'll never have to worry about having to worry about rotation, if you missed it, or if it going away. Once an event quest is released, it's always in the list. And that's that. I know there are a ton of other changes and some really cool features as well, but to me these cover the real major ones that you'll need to adjust to if you're coming from Monster Hunter World. Let me know down in the comments below if you feel there are any large changes that you feel players should know. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you stuck around, I'm going to do a sample quest. This is not to show off or do anything, but I think seeing, one full quest, or at least most of a quest, will really help you to understand how it feels a little bit different than perhaps Monster Hunter World. So I'm in the online hub. I'm going to go here because I want to show off a cool new system that they have in this game called Hyper Monsters. Hyper is kind of like Tempered if you think about it. They're more powerful, but the cool thing about Hyper is that a certain body part on the monster will be glowing, and it will power up attacks. Let's say it's the tail. It'll power up the attacks of the tail as that part is glowing. So it's high risk, high return, because if you get hit by that attack, it's going to take a lot of damage. But if you hit that part, it will raise your Hunter Art gauge faster, which is the special gauge used to do sort of super moves in this game. For this type of game, you do have to eat before you depart. There is no ability to eat afterwards after you start the quest, which is always a bummer, and you can't change your armor or your items or anything like that. So preparation is very important. So one thing I did neglect to show you guys is that I chose a hunter style. This game does have styles. I'm using the striker style, which gives me access to 3 different hunting arts, but all the different styles sort of change up your moveset depending on what you choose. So definitely check out my tutorials on each weapon so you can see what new tricks they have up their sleeve. Here we got the hidden entrance start. We're just going to jump on down. We're not interested in that. Get our paintball ready, because you do have to paintball monsters in order to see them on the map. Actually, you know what? Let me go back and get the map so you guys can see it. That's right, it's an item you have to pick up in the chest in order to even see the entire map. If you notice there's 4 items in here, again, that's because all the online hub quests, even though you can play them offline and single player, they're always tuned for 4 players. They don't scale, so all of G rank, which is the tough rank, is going to be very difficult if you do solo, but it's totally doable, and it's actually really fun. For some people, it's going to be very jarring to see these loading screens in between zones. This is the way that Monster Hunter has always done it. World is the first time they created a seamless world. It's a double-edged sword. It's kind of nice to have the ability to sort of, run into another part of the map and take a breather. If things are getting rough, you can heal up and stuff like that. But it's also kind of an immersion breaker. I do love the seamless nature of the maps in Monster Hunter World. This is an older map, so it doesn't have a whole lot of elevation or gimmicks for me to use the environment for. There's no slinger in this game, so nothing like that. It really is focused on you versus the monster. There's an ogre, and you can see those body parts that are glowing. That is the hyper system, which you run into later in the game. Let's go ahead and paintball, watch the map. I see now it is marked. Okay, let's go kick some butt, shall we? Unfortunately for you guys who are just starting Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter World, you don't know who Zinogre is. Zinogre is a flagship monster that is a favorite for a lot of players. It's kind of like the good doggy. Another thing you might notice is that there is no damage numbers. They never used to show damage numbers in Monster Hunter. It's kind of a new development with Monster Hunter World again. So if you notice right here, I have one art that is now highlighted. This is called the Round Force 3. If I activate it, it allows me to evade any attack with invincibility and do a circle of sort of range attack. Watch this. Boom. It's a cool attack. It hits all these small monsters around you, and it does make you invincible, so you can use it as a sort of like emergency way to evade an attack. Oof. Zinogre charging up. Let's go hit that hand. I wonder if I brought any oil with me. I hope I did. None. Do you believe that? Certain Shield has a new system in this game called the oils, You can apply a special oil on your blade. And it does there's different oils for all sorts of things, like raised infinity, so you can do critical hits. There's a file that will allow you to do exhaust damage and all sorts of stuff. I do have this hunter art called the Chaos oil, which I'm going to use now, the level 3. That will give me the effects of all the oils at once. Oof, there we go, a nice glowing blade. Oh, here we go, blade dance. It's another special hunter art that does a lot of attacks and hits. Ouch. It's been a while since I've played this game, so I apologize for the horrible playing. So if you notice now my life is really low, I need to heal, but the monster is starting to get quite aggressive, and I could run to another area, but that wouldn't be very fun, or I can down a potion. Notice you do that Superman kind of flex afterwards, so you have to make sure that you have an opening. Maybe the monster is on somebody else, woof, and just make sure that you're all good. There we go. So the mounts are definitely faster in this game than they were in Monster Hunter World. Don't know why I'm using past tense here. You hold on and then you just stab when it's green. If you beat it to the end of the gauge, you win. Uh-oh, I'm dizzy. So as you can see, the DNA of the game really is the same. It's not any different than Monster Hunter World. It's just, it really is about the one-on-one instead of running around and using the environment to your advantage. So he's going to another area, so we're going to take that opportunity to sharpen up and to juice up and get ready for round 2. If you play a stun weapon, you'll be happy to hear that they didn't really nerf the stun values for hammer or horn online. So you can do lots of KOs and stuff online, unlike Monster Hunter World where they make it really hard. Oof, and I carded. So carding is pretty severe in this game because you can't eat again. So if you eat once, that's it. So you definitely want to make sure that you have max potions and stuff like that so that you can get higher health and stamina in case that happens. There we go, there goes the tail. Oh yeah. And a good kill there. You can skip it. I misspoke in a recent video and said that you couldn't skip it. That's because I haven't played this game forever. You can press the B button to skip the death animations. Notice there's no timer either. It doesn't tell you if you have 20 seconds left, 10 seconds left. You just kind of have to memorize the ending song and get used to it. It's all those like little quality of life changes that I miss if I'm going back from Monster Hunter World. But honestly, I think that you can adjust to it if you're dedicated to enjoying the hunt. Oh, I missed a shiny. Darn. Anyways, I hope this sample hunt gave you guys an idea of what it's like to play this game. Hope to see you guys online on the Switch when this thing comes out in August. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, happy hunting.